Hello, good evening. I am Answane Sonyasi and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue. Our headlines this evening. On his Meet the People tour, President Barrow has announced plans for constructing 1,200 kilometers more roads in the next 5 years. At another meeting at Medina Umfali in CRR, President Barrow highlighted government's progress in infrastructure projects and the vision to transform the health and agriculture sectors. Stakeholders on Tuesday began a two-day convergence to review for validation the draft document of the Gambia's first national defense policy. Commemorating International Day of Peace on 21st September each year, Caritas Gambia and partners today organize a social cohesion peace Bantabah with representatives of political parties. And in sports news, the Gambia Football Federation, in partnership with Union of European Football Association, UEFA, on Monday commenced a capacity building training for Division 1 clubs. Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And now we take a look at the news in detail. On his Meet the People tour, President Barrow held two meetings at constituencies in the Central River region where he announced plans for constructing 1,200 kilometers more roads in the next 5 years. Mohamed Lamin Choi reports.
In a buzzing crowd of supporters, President Adama Barrow received a warm welcome from the people of Bansang and Janjambure. At a joint meeting in Bansang, the CRR residents hailed government's contributions to infrastructure developments in the region, but also pleaded for government's intervention to improve roads conditions, healthcare and electricity access for communities in the region. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samade, informs the gathering that government has planned to transform the Bansang Hospital into a second major health center in the Gambia. And the
national health insurance financial national
Due to its size, the Upper Fulani district has become the first district to receive 3 ambulances for emergency response at community level. At this meeting, hundreds of supporters claiming to be members of the GDC party say they have switched allegiance by joining the NPP. In outlining his development agenda in the last 4 years, President Barrow breaks down the projects completed so far, which he said includes up to 600 kilometers of roads. The head of state also stresses his commitment to the construction of more roads for smooth transportation of people, goods and services. With a program for accelerated community development, President Barrow outlined support for communities with industrial boreholes, tractors, rice and coarse milling machines, which are underway for construction and distribution. President Barrow calls on the people to entrust him with another 5-year mandate to continue investing taxpayers' money to build a progressive Gambia for all. His message to the people also extends invitation to those in the opposition to join his quest for national development. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News, reporting from the Central River region.
And we will still stay with my colleague Mahmoud Lamin Choi there and the President's tour, because at another meeting at Medina Umfali in CRR, President Barrow highlighted government's progress in infrastructure projects and the vision to transform the health and agricultural sectors.
President Barrow begins his meeting in the Central River region at Madina Umfali in Lower Fuladu, where supporters of the NPP came out in their numbers to take part in the constitutionally mandated presidential engagement with taxpayers. The dialogue opens with the village alcalos speaking in support and appreciation of President Barrow's development projects in the country and outlines some of the challenges facing his village in health and infrastructure development.
Adi cabinet you know them security nga
In a similar address, the chief of the Lower Fuladu district invites his people to support President Barrow's bid for a second term for continuity of development projects in the country. At the meeting, the Minister of Environment, Bantabah, also stresses the President's commitment to national development by mobilizing resources from tax collected from people for the development of the country.
Adama mutari kola fananti kebulo bula banko la jufo kono ka kodo bandi ka banko fengol doku o folota President Barrow.
An ambulance was handed over for the people of the Lower Fuladu district, which according to the President is in line with his government's community ambulance initiative for people to have improved access to health facilities. It was announced that farming tools including tractors, screws and rice milling machines and industrial boreholes were in the pipeline for distribution.
Tractor ni yogo nuriti ka jamane kedi yere tractor ngo maka oga kewe dengana birka mamba ken tractor kani community ko tractor no nyai ken kani sila handa nya go maka kille kedi.
Early on Saturday, a joint meeting of Woolly East, Woolly West and Sanda districts was held at Taiboto village, where President Adama Barrow dialogued with the people who expressed gratitude and support for President Barrow's roads and bridges projects in the Upper River region. Over 500 people who claimed to be GDC supporters said they had swapped allegiance to the NPP. President Barrow distributed ambulances to the districts and outlined plans to distribute tractors, industrial boreholes and milling machines to villages in the area. Mahmoud Lamin Chohe, QTV News, reporting from the Central River region.
Now, after several months drafting the first national defense policy of the Gambia, stakeholders on Tuesday began a two-day convergence to review the draft document for validation. As Alucisio reports, once validated, the document will provide guidelines and the framework for the work of military institutions.
In February this year, the Ministry of Defense set up a committee to draft the Gambia's first national defense policy to provide guidelines and framework for the operations of the Gambia Armed Forces. The Gambia is undergoing a comprehensive security sector reform to restructure the security systems in the country and build the capacity of the personnel. The validation of the draft document is a culmination of a series of engagements and consultations with all stakeholders. The Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Yakuba Edrame, says the policy is needed to bring about some meaningful changes of all structures in which the armed forces are not an exception. He added that formulating the document will effectively enhance the promotion of security institutions and individual men and women in uniform.
The defense policy of any nation is an integral part of its foreign policies, which includes its territorial defense policy against external aggression. While the primary concern is to avoid war through diplomacy and deterrence, every nation ensures that its armed forces possesses the right capability and training to successfully defend its territorial integrity.
David Belgrove, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, whose government supported the exercise, said the event is an important stage in the Gambia's transition and in consolidating the gains of recent years. He commended the Gambia government and Defense Ministry for the initiative.
But everything starts with the policy. Without the policy, which sets the parameters of what you do, it's very difficult to move on. It's very difficult to have the objectives and the goals unless you've got the parameters, the political parameters in which to operate. So this document is very important.
Sheikh Omar Faye, Minister of Defense, describes the validation as historic, as it is a necessary step in the ongoing security sector reform to build the trust and confidence of all Gambians. According to Minister Faye, the government's desire and that of the Gambian people is to have an armed force that is properly manned, trained and equipped to fulfill their constitutional mandate.
For purposes of defense and security governance of the Gambia, the policy is a firm step in the right direction and provide our defense institution with a clear declaration, intention and steer with which to guide our uninformed, uniform and non-uniform individuals whose support the institution depends on.
Sirif Gomez, a veteran military officer, chaired the drafting committee comprised of experienced security personnel. He describes the policy as timely and apt, despite some of the challenges.
We are able to all direct our efforts towards achieving one purpose, that at the end of the day, we should be able to have a draft defense policy that is befitting of the country, of its status, and capture the aspiration of the Gambian people moving forward. So yes, it was challenging, but we were able to do it.
It is hoped that the validation of this draft document will be followed by an effective implementation for the realization of the collective journey to ensure good governance, security, and the protection of sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country. Security sector reform remains one of the cardinal programs of President Adama Barrow's government since 2017. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
And that report there by Aliou Cisse will lead us to the commercial break, but we will be right back.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, be reminded you're following QTV News, coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue, and I am Ansmane Sonyase. Now, as part of commemorations marking International Day of Peace on 21st September each year, Caritas Gambia and partners today organize a social cohesion peace Bantabah with representatives of political parties. Loyam Kamara has more.
People say Gambia is blessed. Yes, we are blessed, but it takes just one moment to flip over that peace. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. So we should be aware of that and work very, very hard so that we have a peaceful election and even post-election.
A baton for peace was handed over to us by our forefathers. That's what this country is known for.
I do not believe peace resides in what the government perceives. It resides in what the citizenry perceives. Because all of us together have a stake, and without anyone on board, peace will be derailed.
Those were the opinions of people representing various political parties. Peace has been at the center of this interface, which brought together political party representatives to discuss and share ideas on the past experiences for conducting a peaceful election on December 4, 2021. Father Edward Gomez, the guest speaker of the event, advised against using hate speech, urging people to spread compassion, kindness and hope as we recover from the pandemic. Father Gomez reminded party militants that elections will come to pass and the country will stay.
The purpose of peace is for us to realize that there will not be those who are rich and those who are poor, because we will work for equity, so that if there is equity and equal sharing of the resources of the world and of the country, then there will not be that cause for us to be living without peace.
Joanna Mende, representing the Catholic Relief Service and also the program manager at Caritas Gambia, states that Caritas started the Peace Bantabah in 2018 to help Gambians reflect about what had happened in the previous 22 years, as revealed during the TRRC hearings, adding that if Gambians keep focusing on the past, it will be difficult to see the future. She thanked Caritas Gambia for the initiative.
The challenge for you today is to go back to your various parties and look inwards and ask yourself, as a party, what good do we have? Are we peacefully coexisting within our party? If yes, how do we ensure that all Gambians enjoy that peace?
Francis D. Mendy, the director of Caritas Gambia, said understanding and building the right relationships are fundamental as the foundation for any development.
If we build the right relationships as citizens of the country, irrespective of our religious orientation, irrespective of our origin, in terms of the regions we come from, irrespective of our ethno-linguistic background, and irrespective of our political views, we will have a positive view of the other person.
As the world recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic, this year's theme for the International Day of Peace is Recovering Better for an Equitable and Sustainable World. According to the official UN website, they encourage people to join the United Nations family in focusing on better recovery to create a fairer and peaceful world. Fittingly, 21st September also marks the date in 1965 when the Gambia was admitted as a UN member. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
Now, the Gambia Armed Forces on Monday began pre-deployment training for Gamkoi 1, its quick reaction force. The training, which is supported by the British Armed Forces, will last for 3 months. Babkarsi reports.
Attended by the Deputy British High Commissioner and the Deputy CDS of the Gambia Armed Forces, the men and women in uniform will undergo a 3-month intensive training as part of Gamkoi 1's quick reaction force. This is a necessary UN requirement training program prior to the deployment of service personnel from troops contributing to UN missions. At the event, the commandant of the Gambia Armed Forces Training School, Major Abdullah Job, said the training of our troops is important and has been made easier with the support of the British Armed Forces.
And so we are confident that at the end of the training, the QRF will be primed for deployment into the peace support operation missions. So at this juncture, I must acknowledge that we have had a very fruitful working relations with Lieutenant Colonel Cooper and his team, most especially Captain Tom Conlon, who has effectively integrated with us at the GAF training school, and he's already bringing some added value into the school.
The Deputy British High Commissioner, Joshua Colborne, said his country is always happy to be associated with the Gambia in terms of development and capacity building.
And I'm really happy to be opening this round of training to prepare the GAF for future UN operations. The UK and the Gambia have a long history. Many remember the British Army training team present in country from 1984, created with typical Gambian warmth and hospitality. I hope our team here today will receive that same welcome in the same barracks that hosted the British Army training team from 1984. It's an honour for me to be here and to see the GAF's future UN employees. I have it on good authority that the Gambian service record in UN operations is impeccable.
For Deputy CDS Major General Mamat Ocham, this is a rare opportunity the soldiers should seize and make good use of the training.
When the Chief of Defence Staff of the Gambian Armed Forces pledged to deploy a Gambian QRF company to the United Nations, we had no idea what the magnitude of the task would be. After the pledge, we were asked that in order to make good our pledge, we must complement our efforts with the acquisition of what we call the critical enablers, meaning we have to buy the armored personnel carriers and the required equipment and logistics in order to be able to sustain a quick reaction force in a UN peacekeeping mission. I am happy to report that as we speak, we have finalized all the procurement arrangements with a company, and hopefully the equipments that were requested by the UN will be coming to this source of this country beginning December, January.
Other speakers include the head of the British Peace Support Team and the British Defence Attaché, who all hailed the partnership between the two countries and looked forward to a successful training course. Gamkoi 1 Quick Reaction Force consists of 250 soldiers who will undergo intensive military training for the next 3 months under the guidance of the British soldiers. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And from that report there by Babu Karsi, we will take a look at sports in a moment. So as part of the Union of European Football Associations, UEFA's Assist League Development Program, the Gambia Football Federation, in partnership with UEFA, on Monday commenced a 4-day capacity building training for Division 1 clubs. Jao reports.
The workshop, which brought together presidents, coaches and technical directors for First Division clubs, and as well as senior staff of the Gambia Football Federation, is geared toward guiding divisional clubs on their operational standards. In his opening remarks, the president of the Gambia Football Federation, Lamin Kaba Bajo, says the GFF has benefited from many UEFA Assist projects since their introduction. He added that the ongoing training seeks to professionalize the Gambia's National League at a time when the country is registering significant development in football. He thanked UEFA for approving this program.
As the General Secretary alluded to it earlier on, since we took over the leadership of football leadership in this country, or football management or administration, in 2014, the most prominent acronym that really we were able to share and sell is the CARM project, C-A-R-M. This C for coaches, A for administrators, R for referees, and M for medics. Because we thought these are the people, these are the respective categories, these are the move and shakers of football in any part of the world.
Eva Paskia, the head of international relations at UEFA, says the development of African football leagues like that of the European leagues is not an impossible task, but needs concerted effort from both football stakeholders and players.
We have different programs, but one of them is exactly this league development, which we consider to be very important ones. Why? Because the clubs, you are the backbone of the football. If there will be no clubs, there will be no football in a country, no organized football in a country. Without you, there will be no national teams. Without you, there will be not organized competitions. And without you, there will be no players having their players' pathway in the development from the grassroots to the top elite.
Ibu Fai, the second vice president of the Gambia Football Federation, says the training is important.
It's long overdue for us to move our football to the next level. We have been playing football since 1952, but it has been amateur. But now we want to move to the next level. And moving to the next level is to have a professional league, whereby anybody who works in the professional league, it will be a profession for them, not volunteering.
Ibu Jara, the head coach of Gamtel Gamsel FC, believes that a lot of work has been done recently by the GFF to improve the Gambia's national leagues, and highlighted the importance of the training.
Training is always good because it always adds value. Normally it should add value, and that value should reflect on the people who are being trained and the people who go out to train the people they represent. So, I mean, the training, it's something that we are very much looking forward to, and hoping that it will give us or reshape our structure in that sense.
The GFF UEFA capacity building training is expected to boost the capacities of football managers and coaches, and also add value and development to the first division clubs in the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
And from the report there by Jao, I'm afraid it's all that we have for you tonight. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. On his Meet the People tour, President Barrow announced plans for constructing 1,200 kilometers more roads in the next 5 years. And at another meeting at Madina Umfali in CRR, President Barrow highlighted government's progress in infrastructure projects and the vision to transform the health and agriculture sectors. Stakeholders on Tuesday began a 2-day convergence to review for validation the first national defense policy of the Gambia draft document. Commemorating International Day of Peace on 21st September each year, Caritas, Gambia and partners today organized a social cohesion peace Bantabah with representatives of political parties in the Gambia. And in sports news, the Gambia Football Federation in partnership with Union of European Football Association UEFA on Monday commenced a capacity building training for Division 1 clubs. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of the news, but do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, thanks for watching.